Welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this afternoon. This evening, I should say. I think I actually have. Do I have something else running on here? I do. I am very happy to have you this evening with me. I wasn't sure what I want to talk about. I skipped last night. A lot of stuff going on, and I had to try to kind of get stuff right. And it took me a few minutes to figure this out. But then I figured today, there is something I want to talk about. And partially was what my team posted, believe it or not, got me kind of thinking about what I should be posting. And it was about the idea of free speech, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing about it. And because, of course, everyone's still talking about Charlie Kirk. I mean, still, but now we have to start talking about what are we going to do about it? And so many things. Let me grab some stuff. I have so many things I want to bring up if I can find them here. Yeah, I got to find a couple of things. I put a lot out here. A lot of things I was thinking about, and I had to grab like 4 or 5 different things to move forward with because so much stuff was going through my head. All right, let me square myself away. I understand completely that people are concerned about hate speech. I get it. I understand completely that people are worried about violence in America. I totally get it. I don't not understand. Like, I get that completely. But there are some issues we have to worry about. And that is making laws because we're afraid. And I've said this many times, and I'll keep saying it. Prior to the lockdowns, it was always true. Now it's usually true. And that is that, generally speaking, the American government doesn't just take rights. American people voluntarily surrender them because we're afraid. Now, again, the lockdowns were an exception. Prior to the lockdowns, that never happened. But why did it happen because of the lockdowns? Because prior to the lockdowns, we had been giving our rights away because we're scared so long. So often, the government said, well, just take them. I mean, they say yes all the time anyway. Let's just take them. And they were kind of right. And I hate the fact that the government was right, but it was. They took our rights and we went, okay, but can we be safe? And that was it. And now we have so many people talking about this. But there's a second piece of this. And this is the idea of, should we crack down on hate speech legally or socially, right? And this is the whole cancel culture piece. That if you go back 10 years ago, this was all 15 years ago, whatever, 10, 15 years ago, this was all lefties doing this. It was no righties doing this. It was lefties. Remember, they were the one, you didn't say the right pronoun, so you canceled, or you said something off color that I was mad about, so you canceled. Remember that? Or we go back 20 years, some shit you said when you were like 9, and now you cancel, right? That was what was happening. And we thought it was wrong then, right? But conceptually, there's a difference between society and government. But then came the lockdowns in that whole time. And things changed there. Because when the bug came out, all of a sudden now we were being canceled on social media that was basically, and you could argue either way, it was basically the public square, right? Is YouTube the public square? You could argue it is, you could argue it isn't, right? Is Facebook or was Facebook the public square? You could argue it is, you could argue it isn't. So that become a whole lot grayer. You might go, well, Larry, they're a private company. They can do what they want. Theoretically, that's true. But when they want protection from the government, wait a minute. Or worse, when the government literally tells them, don't do this, stop that. Now the government's stepping in. Now that becomes a problem, right? But what we're seeing now with Charlie Kirk in general, there are exceptions, obviously. In general, it is private citizens trying to punish other private citizens within private companies. Now, that is a little bit different. That's a little bit different. But is it still wrong or right? In other words, here comes Jane Doe, who says, I'm happy about what happened, right? Oh, good for him, glad, right? Which clearly is horrible. Even if you don't like Charlie Kirk, you should be like happy that his kids don't have a father anymore, right? But there are people who you've seen the stories, I'm sure you have, where people are actively like happy that his kids are suffering. I mean, that's just horrible shit. But now I have people who are canceling them, right? Because of that. That's not government. That's society. but this is down part to that too. If we start canceling the people because they say terrible stuff, well, that feels good, I'm sure. But then what happens when mad woman who's on TikTok screaming about this can't find a job anymore? And she's a single mom with 2 kids. You pay for her anyway, right? I mean, she's going to go on public assistance. What's she going to do, right? If she can't get a job and got 2 kids, we're going to pay for her anyway. Did we really win that? I'm not sure. Again, so I don't think it's that simple, but I get it, right? I get the concept behind it. So I guess I haven't given you my answer on this. What I've done is I've tried my best to kind of show that this isn't as black and white as somebody might think. And there was history behind it, which is why I thought it was such an interesting topic, right? And I'm going to show some videos on what I'm talking about here. Before I do that, Duke Effect, thank you for the $5, my friend. The DOJ and FBI should stick to their charter. Leave the partisan whining to politicians. If people can't handle the realities of freedom, we're doomed. True. Let me be very clear. Very clear. The crackdown on hate speech. If individuals want to use the private market to punish people in the private market, that is very different than the DOJ deciding we're going to come after you. Speaking of that, let me pop this one up if I could. And this is from Rising. I'll give you a chunk. I can't do the whole thing because I can only watch about the first couple of minutes of any Rising clip when Lindsay's on because she's always just so bad. But in any case, let me give you a piece of this.
Attorney General Pam Bondi is vowing to target anyone who is engaged in, quote, hate speech in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death.
Now, Bondi,
yes, she's actually gonna go get him.
Is facing heat from across the spectrum over her comments. Here she is on Katie Miller's podcast yesterday.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Now, the problem with this is twofold. One, that's Stephen Miller's wife, right? And you might go, why do I care? Because Stephen Miller is very clearly very influential in the government. And his wife has a podcast. And here comes the AG. Well, who's more influential than even Stephen Miller's wife? The Attorney General, who said there's no space for hate speech in America. That is so utterly and demonstrably wrong. That is so terrible. But how did she couch it? Especially after what happened. There is no difference in her tone than after 9/11 when we made that stupid Patriot Act. Remember Patriot Act that took all of our rights away? I'm exaggerating, but a bunch of our rights away. Remember when the Patriot Act basically said you can do whatever you want? Remember the Patriot Act who we're still feeling the damages from that? Remember the same style that happened during the lockdowns. Oh, we can lock everybody down. Who cares? We can lock everybody down because, bad stuff. So lock people down, take the rights away. Same thing. Tragedy. And they take the rights away. Now, when it came to 9/11, that was mostly Republicans with Democrats supporting them. When it was the lockdowns, most Democrats, Republican supporting them. This one, I'm not sure yet. So far, it's just the Trump administration. We're going to see who's going to jump on board for this one. I'm sure there'll be people who will jump on board like, yeah, get rid of all of them. I'm sure there will be, right? That's the problem. That's the problem that we have here. There are people who are going to jump on board for this one too. And you might go, well, Larry, so what? Why do I care? Is it going to be that bad? Yes, because we could wind up being like England and Germany. And in England and Germany, they literally put you in jail for tweets. I'm not making that up. That's a real thing. You go to jail for tweets. We're on our way if this happens.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything.
Utterly against the First Amendment. Pam Bondi should immediately step down or apologize immediately. It is absolutely unacceptable whatsoever. Well, Larry, how do you know what's hate speech and what's not? First off, hate speech is absolutely 100% protected. It absolutely is. If you don't like what I'm saying, it's protected from the government. I want to be very clear. If I want to call you out or say things bad or insult you in return or not work with you or fire you, totally fine. I can do that if I want to, and you can do it to me. I might not want to associate with you. Totally fine. I can call you names myself. Totally fine. Totally fine. I can tell your boss that they should fire you. That's legal. That I can do that. Your boss, you should fire her. I'm doing it now. Trump, fire her. I'm doing it now. That's completely okay. What's not okay is when somebody goes, does that mean we're going to start cuffing people? Which is what she said. And Pam Bondi goes, yeah. You use a targeted hate speech. You get to be cuffed. This is where we are. 100% no. I get we're afraid. Larry, where's the line? They've been calling people the N-word, the German N-word, the Austrian N-word, not the other N-word. They've been calling them the N-word for years. They've been saying, you're right. And that's terrible. And we should stop. And socially, we have to stop accepting it. And maybe if we had third parties, we'd stop it. I've been saying this for 8 years. Maybe we would. But we're not. We're just staying mad. But here's the problem. I'm going to tell you where the line is. Where's the line? It's actually clear when it starts. It's clear when it starts to become gray. Now, it's still gray, but it becomes clear when it becomes gray. Now I know when it's gray. Here it is. Insert whatever bad group of people you want. I don't care what group it is. Insert. I'm going to use those people. And you put any group you want. The group does not matter. Those people shouldn't have rights. Legal. Those people should all be in prison. Legal. Those people should go to camps. Legal. And yes, legal. Those people shouldn't vote. Legal. Those people shouldn't be citizens. Legal. Those people aren't human beings. Legal. Those people are vermin. Legal. Horrible, but legal. Those people shouldn't be alive. I wish something bad would happen to those people. Legal. The second you say something like, let's go get those people, now you're in trouble. Because now you are inciting violence. Once you go, let's go get, insert those people. We should go get those people. And that go get could be harm, take, grab, hang from a tree, whatever. Once you say that, now we have now investigation. Now what's going on? But if you just go, I don't like those people, they should be in jail. They're not even human beings. That is clearly and obviously and utterly protected from the government. Now, if you say those people aren't human and those people should go into a camp and your boss fires you, your boss is protected. And if your boss isn't protected, shame on our government. Shame on our government. And if some store says, I don't want to be associated with you, so I don't want you to be in my store, their store should be protected. Protected. Because they don't have to associate with you because you think certain people should go to camp or whatever stupid shit you think. You can say it. The government can't arrest you. It should be putting cuffs on you like these idiots say. Yes, Steve Miller, I just called your wife an idiot. Yes. And Pam Bondi, she's an idiot too. Yes. For saying that. Shame on them for saying that shit. But they did. No cuffs. If there are social repercussions, acceptable. You might think it's wrong, but then we can come back socially. And it seems obvious, but for some reason it's not. I shouldn't have to say, this shouldn't be a show topic. It shouldn't be. Clearly it must, because we've gone to a spot where it is. It's insanely bad.
And that's across the aisle.
Fox News' Britt Hume wrote on X, someone needs to explain to Ms. Bondi that so-called hate speech, repulsive though it may be, is protected by the First Amendment.
Yep.
She should know this. Bondi, however, took to X to defend herself this morning.
Yep. She
wrote
back.
that hate speech that crosses into violence isn't protected by the First Amendment and that the era of calls for assassinations and cheers for political violence are over.
Okay, two parts to that. Calls for assassinations, she's right. That part's true. Cheering on political violence, that's actually okay. I'm sorry, that's not okay. That's legally protected. It's not okay. Take that back. It's not okay. It is legally protected. Call for assassination is, but she didn't say that. She said any type of hate against any group. No. If you are calling for assassinations, yes, that's a problem. That's a threat. Threats are against the law, as they should be. Threats are a crime, as they should be. You should be threatening people. No, you should be calling for someone to die. No, you should not be doing that. That's a threat, and absolutely, that should be stopped. So yes, And sadly, she defends this.
Meanwhile, the suspects in Kirk's assassination, Tyler Robinson, is set to appear in court today. FBI
Yes.
Director Dan Bongino revealed that based on Robinson's digital footprint, he had, quote, an obsession with Charlie Kirk. Bongino also said that Robinson displayed multiple.
Well, we'll cover some of that a bit later, but I want to cover that piece if I could. So this is the part that I wanted to make sure was crystal clear. I know for some people, somehow it's not. But this is the next piece. And this is the piece which is, this is the piece that is not, if I can say this, this is the piece, if I get this right, this is not the part that is about the government. This is a separate piece. And Robbie brings this piece up, which I think he's right on this one. I've been kind of pro Robbie recently. I don't know what's going on, but I have been recently.
That hate speech should not be tolerated. But first, Robbie, what's on your radar?
Let's get to it. The shocking assassination of Charlie Kirk has caused understandable distress for so many Americans, including not just his fans and supporters, but millions of other people who are rightly dismayed by the prospects of political violence.
And I got to be clear, I don't want to dismiss this as not a big deal for many people, particularly people who are his fans or people who feel like they could be next. I get it. We should be concerned. It is a real concern.
It's partly because we just aren't accustomed to it. Well, it's commonplace for politicians and media figures to warn of violent political rhetoric leading to more actual violence. But it remains the case that ideologically motivated killings of national figures are blessedly rare. Now, Kirk's grisly murder, which was captured on video and watched on social media by millions of people, is unusual and profoundly unsettling.
True.
Many people are
That was horrible. So many people who saw it were shocked by watching it. Shocked by that. 100%.
Processing their grief in ways that are edifying. Spontaneous vigils hosted by individuals whose lives were changed by him. Kind remembrances of his approach to politics.
Well, look, the thing is, a lot of people are mad, but this is just how it works. And whether you like it or not, it's how it works. When people are murdered like that, they will become martyrs and we will deify them in some way, shape, or form. It is simply the way of the world. And those people who don't like Charlie Kirk or didn't like him are going to be angry. I get it. They're going to be angry. It's not going to stop it, though. It's how it works. Whenever someone is in trouble or harmed public like that, they become a more sympathetic person. It's what they do. It is human nature. So I know some people don't like it, but I think it's true. It does happen. It's very common. So let me grab here. Craig says you censor your audience. What are you talking about? Don't stop. No, I don't. For someone, I don't know why you would say that. I don't censor my audience. I just take super chats first because they pay, dude. That's the reason why I take them first. That's all. John's, thank you for the $4.99. Larry, as a young teen, I love telling dirty jokes. The old guys in town cued me by saying to me, hey, your mom loved those jokes. Jaw dropped, cured. There we go. The old guys that cued me by saying, hey, your mom loved those jokes. Nice. That's kind of cute. But my point being, you should also know your audience, right? There's a place for nasty, dirty jokes. Of course there are. I tell them myself. I'm a Marine. Of course I do. There's a place for that. There's a place where you probably shouldn't be doing it also, right? There's a place for both. So yeah, I get that. So yeah, I'll bring up a very interesting point. When I left the Marine Corps, my language was horribly misogynistic, but not because I was necessarily a misogynist. I mean, I might have had some in my mind because my first job as an adult was in the Marine Corps on the ground side, which was only men. There were no women in the Marine Corps on the ground side at that time. There might be now, I don't know if there are, but there weren't when I was in. So everything was male, and we insulted each other by calling off feminine names and hey, ladies, and blah. We did all the things that were to insult was all male and female back and forth. So I had to make a lot of changes because when I got out, I became a civilian and I worked for a school district. I mean, a private school. So yeah, had to change my language quickly. So yeah. Anyway, that's an interesting point. So I don't think I'm going to go any further. I kind of want to cover that piece.
And by his ideological foes and so on. Others are not. In fact, many of Kirk's most ardent fans are now engaged in one of the largest mass cancellation efforts of all time. Some Republican legislators, MAGA activists, and conservative media figures are assembling watch lists with the explicit aim of silencing, firing, expelling, perhaps even criminalizing any and all anti-Kirk sentiment.
Now, look, the same thing that I would say for government, I would think emotionally applies to the private sector. And Robbie's going to bring this up. I get some of the people who said some really horrible things and you want to punish them. I do. But I think now we're like, everybody who doesn't love Charlie Kirk has to be punished. You know, that's going to backfire. If you guys who love Charlie Kirk punish everybody who doesn't love Charlie Kirk, and some of you want to do that, right? It's going to come backfire. If you beat up the people, not realistically, I mean socially, not physically, if you socially beat up the people who said the worst things, most of them are like, yeah, that's pretty crappy. They probably deserve it. But you start going some guy who's like, I don't like Charlie Kirk for whatever reason. You got to be fired. That's going to backfire.
Representative Clay Higgins wants to use explicit government pressure to crush anyone who, quote, ran their mouth and belittled the gravity of Kirk's death.
I cannot tell you how wrong that is. That's the point. If Pam Bondi can say we're going to arrest you, well, then why shouldn't some senator or some congressman go, you ran your mouth about Charlie, we got to punish you. Now Charlie becomes a saint. He's now Saint Charlie. And now if this is something wrong against him in any way you want to, now all of a sudden you're a heretic. And heretics got to pay. That's a bridge too far. It's a bridge too far.
Top Trump advisor Stephen Miller is vowing some kind of unspecified crackdown on the right's political enemies. Conservative influencers are writing down the names and professions of Kirk besmirchers and calling their employers. Vice President J.D. Vance, filling in as a guest host on Kirk's show, instructed viewers to engage in unrestricted canceling. Let's watch.
Civil society, Charlie understood this well, is not just something that flows from the government.
Okay.
It flows.
It doesn't flow from government at all, but it's okay.
From each and every one of us. It flows from all of us. So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility.
Now, I don't totally disagree with Vance there.
Yeah, I'm with Charlie on this one. I mean, not Charlie. I'm with Robbie on this one a little bit. Like, if the person's like, I'm glad his kids don't have it, and people said stuff like that, I get it. But just comes like someone's like, I don't like Charlie, I don't care. Why would you punish them for that? They don't like him, and they don't care. Okay, go about your business, man. It's fine. Whatever.
He's right that political violence and consequences are not the same thing. That's why when it comes to cancel culture, what Vance is proposing, it is always necessary to draw distinctions and register certain caveats. Criticism is not necessarily cancellation, and not every person currently under attack for having said something ugly about Kirk is a victim. The First Amendment is a bulwark against government action. It does not mean everyone can say whatever they want and suffer no consequences. If your boss fires you, you aren't being censored unless the government twisted your boss's arm.
And that's the piece I want to bring up. And this is my worry. I'm not mad that some boss thinks that you're a bad person for saying bad things and she decides to fire you. That happens every day. People get fired every day. Happens. I get it. But my worry is so many government contracts. That's where my head went to. Government contracts. So I got a bunch of government contracts, and I'm scared that if I don't start firing people who don't like Charlie Kirk or whatever, that I'm not going to get my government contract. And I go, Larry, come on. No, that stuff's real. And some of these government contracts for smaller businesses are 50 to 80%, depending on the business, of their business. Upstate New York, I mean, at least 2/3 of all the new businesses started somehow in upstate New York is somehow connected to the military industrial complex. Somehow connected to it. So now in upstate New York, you're going to be like, wait a minute, you said something bad about Charlie Kirk? I got to fire you. They find out you work for me. I don't get that contract. They cancel my contract. That's what Miller's talking about. That's what Pam Bondi's talking about. They're going to cancel my contract. I'm out of business. You gone. That person may not care about Charlie Kirk at all. They may not care. They may be like, well, I don't care, whatever. He may not care. He might care. She might care. I don't know. But that is my worry. My worry is government contracts start up, and they're like, oh my God, we got to stop firing people. This is why it is so insidious for Pam Bondi to say what she said, for Stephen Miller to say what he said, because that is going to leak out. And if I'm sitting upstate New York and I got some deal where I'm making whatever boots or I'm making solar panels or whatever I'm making for the military industrial complex, and I got somebody out there saying, I hate Charlie Kirk or whatever, like, I might lose my pack your trash. You got to go. Pack your trash. You got to go. Unfair. That part of, and I'm not saying that's happened yet. I don't know if it's happened. That is my concern. That is a problem that I.
That said, it's worth keeping in mind that many commentators, ranging from classical liberals and free speech centrists on the left of center to many folks on the hard right, have embraced a larger view of free speech and cancel culture. It's better to live in a world where people don't get fired or expelled because they tweeted something stupid.
It is better. And also, is it something stupid? Or is it something horrible and purposeful? Right? Did they say some dumb joke about Charlie Kirk? Bad, but I could understand that. Or did they actually say things, and some of them said it. Some of the stuff is just, I'm going to cover that in a second.
And yes, it's true that there's a difference between canceling someone for welcoming the death of Kirk and canceling someone for tweeting something homophobic when they were 14 years old. There's also a big difference between canceling someone for justifying violence against Kirk and canceling someone who merely objected to his views, behavior, and political project. Furthermore, there's a major difference between canceling someone in a public-facing communications role and canceling someone who is otherwise obscure. So I want to consider two examples of post-Kirk cancellation attempts that aptly demonstrate.
Now, we don't have to go any further than that, but I just want to show you that concept. This piece has bugged me a bit, but I want to go further afterwards. Let me, if I could, grab some comments if I could. All right. Craig says, I think he means hate speech. Hate speech is protected, Larry. You know that? Of course I know that. I'm running a show, dude. I got to put stuff up people talk about. If I answer the question, would you have tuned in? Would you have commented? Come on, brother. Got a show run here. Of course. Rick says, if you don't want to be a victim of cancel culture, don't be a part of or advocate for cancel culture, my right-wing friends. I don't know if that matters, Rick, and this is my issue. If one side wants to cancel the other, they will always feel that they are righteous. When the left was doing the canceling 10 years ago, they believed that they were doing the right thing. They thought they were protecting the people and doing the right thing. They didn't feel bad. Remember, the people doing the bad thing never think they're doing the bad thing. They're doing a good thing, right? And now when the right's doing it, I'm doing a good thing. So I'm not sure. Now, there's a bit of hypocrisy, I might say. You could see that. I could definitely see that. Yes, I can see hypocrisy. But if you look at what people on the left believed, they believed that, well, see, it's because patriarchy and because elites, and they have crushed us for so long that now we are righteously striking back. We're just making things equal. That is what most people on the left would have told you 10 years ago when they were canceling people. Well, Rick, you deserve to be canceled because you're part of patriarchy. Okay, some people will be, harmed, but some people will be saved. Some people have to be hurt as we make things fairer. That would have been their argument to you. The argument of the right now will be, we've tried to be good, and Charlie Kirk was trying to be good, and they canceled him. So now we got to cancel him back. This is revenge. This is just making things evil. Both sides think that they're okay, right? Neither side believes they're wrong, whatever you might think. So I'm not going to matter. So Bicote says, won't do anything to stop Gino side. I'm on YouTube. I got to be good. Or Cheeto has MERS campaign to golf, or the continued waste of our tax dollars on foreign adventures. I have been feeling like everything these last 2 months has been distraction. However, as I always say, I have trouble believing that the government sets any of this stuff up. It's just too damn incompetent and too loose. I think the government often knows it's going to happen, not always, but often does. It takes advantage of the crisis. So I think the government's very happy to take advantage of this. I'm not saying they wanted him gone. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they set it up. I'm not saying this is a government plan, a plot. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is they might have known there was going to be violence. Maybe, who knows? But once it happened, great. Let's take advantage of it. Let's put this in a news cycle for the next 3 weeks and erase everything else so that we can keep. Yeah, I could see that completely. I definitely could see that. Mike Voss in the House. Hate speech is a way to use emotions to manipulate public and empower attacks on political enemies. Repeal all hate speech laws. Admonish those that use hate speech, get elected, and fund ideology. Admonish those that use hate speech, get elected. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could buy that. I'm not against any of that. I'm not against any of that. Yes. Michael Zona say consequence of speech is not hate speech punishment. You can say anything via First Amendment and you are liable for what you choose to say, free speech is not freedom from consequences. Consequence of speech is not hate speech punishment. Well, it can be, right? The consequence of your hate speech can be a punishment. Of course it could be, right? If I'm going to sit here and I don't know, I work for a Jewish temple here in Manhattan and I say some anti-Semitic stuff and they fire me. Well, that was punishment for my hate speech, right? Of course it was. And I would expect them to. If I'm working for a Jewish temple and I say some anti-Semitic stuff, they probably should fire me. Like, you know, they probably should. And that's the consequence of me opening my mouth. If I'm going to work for a temple, I probably should shut up. I hope I'm not anti-Semitic if I'm working for, but let's say I am for some reason, I should probably keep my mouth shut. But that would not be a bad punishment, right? So I'm not sure. So, all right. Kim says we should stop the bullying. It's very childish, disrespectful, and unprofessional. Agreed. So-called hate speech is nothing but bullying. It's how the victim responds to the hate speech that matters. Okay. Here's the problem with this, Kim, is that, and this is the part I want to go into next, believe it or not. You've kind of hit into the next part. And that is, you find that people get into these spirals within algorithms within social media, that now everyone around them keeps saying it. And as human beings, if we keep hearing the same thing, then you will find that we stop believing it to be true, whether it's true or not. That's the problem. So it's easy for me to, like, someone calls me a bad name or insults me one time. Easy for me to go, oh yeah, whatever. Or someone who, how about someone who I respect, Kim, says those people, insert whoever those people are a certain way or a certain thing. Well, whatever, he just said it, whatever. But then I hear it from someone else I respect or my friend group. Maybe I stop believing it. That's how you get indoctrinated. That's how that works, right? It's just human nature. It's what winds up happening. I see that again and again and again. So I think theoretically correct. It's challenging in actual practice, if that makes any sense, right? It's challenging. So I think we keep moving down. Rick says, Pam Bondi's wrong. We want the jerks out to out themselves. Also true. I would always rather have the guy who's a bad guy know where he is. I would always rather have that. Yes, I would always rather have that every single time. All righty. They grab here again. Phil says, there was one time my brother's graduation, they were giving this honorary doctorate to a large donor and just kept on going on. That speech I hate. There we go. See that? He hates that speech. He's got jokes today. Yeah, he got jokes today. So yes. All righty. I do appreciate all those. Yomir says, live for governor. Appreciate that. There we go. Master Now says, hate speech not existing is one of the few options of Kirk's that I agree with. Hate speech not existing is one of the few options of Kirk's that I agree. Oh, I see. Yes. Opinions. I think you mean he means opinions. Yes. He means opinion. Yes. Agreed. Yes. I agree. Yes. Craig says, hate speech exists. Kirk is wrong and is protected by the First Amendment. Here's the problem with this, Craig. And the problem is who defines it and how do we socially versus legally? That makes any sense, right? Socially, people don't like hate speech and they want it punished. It's so socially, we just want it. It's our desire. We don't like it. It feels bad. We want it punished. But legally, I think you're right. There's no way we can punish. Well, we can. I mean, we can always punish things. I shouldn't say that. Legally, we shouldn't. I guess it is the right word. We shouldn't. So Kim asks, Charlie Kirk would be for or against death penalty in this case? Huh. I would assume for, if he could look outside, right? I would assume for. So yeah. Liberty says, quite disappointed in Rand Paul's BS, he said recently. He was assaulted. So I'm not saying he was right, but again, I can understand why I would think. I mean, like, if some hate speech dude assaulted me, I might think differently too. I don't know. I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying I could understand how it would work. So I could see that. So anyway, Craig says, Charlie Kirk was a paid Trump apologist. Okay. Doesn't mean he should be dead. And for you to say what you just said, I don't think you should be canceled. if you were to add, and therefore he should have been, and his wife, and some people said this. I'm not saying you said this, Craig. Some people said, and we should, I'm not joking. There are people who said on video, and we should go after the little ones also. And they didn't say it that nicely. If you had added that, I would say you're horrible. You should probably be canceled. But you didn't say that, obviously. What you said is totally fine. But if you had said that, I still, even if you said a little kid thing, I wouldn't say you should go to jail for that. But if someone got you fired for that, I wouldn't be mad if you had gone that level. And I think that's the issue that we're talking about, right? That's the issue that we have to talk about that I think we're not doing as much about. So, yeah. All righty. I want to move to the next step if I could. And this is a part from his, this is from his alleged killer, right? I don't want to say his killer, his alleged killer. They actually found the Utah DA found a text message from him and his, I'm going to call lover. I don't know. The lover was transitioning to a female, so I don't know if she actually was female or not yet. I don't know. Because she was transitioning. That was actually happening. So before I go there, I was going to go there, but I want to cover that. But before I go there, I want to bring up something else, and that is we talked about hate speech. There's another place you can find stuff about hate speech. You know what that is? I think you know what that is. It's Civil, of course. Every single time I have a show, I show you something cool about Civil because there's always something cool here. And this one, believe it or not, is actually from like a year or two ago, maybe more. I forgot where this one's from. This is actually an interesting comedic piece with my buddy, my personal friend, Lou Perez, who I love. It's called 5 Reasons Why We Need Hate Speech.
Conventional wisdom tells us hate has no value. Hate is dangerous. Hate is harmful. And if we are to achieve social justice, we must put a stop to hate speech, silence it by any means necessary.
Louder, ladies, louder!
But what if the fight to stop hate speech is more harmful than the speech itself?
Now, I know you're going to want to enjoy that, and you can. You can just join Civil, and you can enjoy that. Yes, you can. There's always something cool and interesting on Civil. That's why I'm part of them. That's why you can get some special shows that I did only on Civil. Yes, you can. We Fix It Wednesdays is only on Civil. That's all there is. Exactly right. You can go join Civil at civil.com, CIVL.com. When you join, put in the code Larry, LARRY, which is the coolest name on the internet. If you put it in, you get 50% off. 50% off means the entire year, $25. Not $25 per month. No. $25 the entire year. Pop up on Civil. Click that in. $25 the entire month. There's always something cool on Civil. Every single show, I got something to show you. What does that mean? You get real conversations, real information, real back and forth. And Lou Perez is funny. I know he's my friend. I got his book. It's a good book, by the way. Buy his book too. While you're at it, check him out. Buy his book. His book's very funny. It's called That Joke's Not Funny Anymore. And it's actually about cancel culture. Yes, it is about cancel culture. You'll enjoy his book. So do that also. Civil.com, code Larry. Look, on Civil, we are trying to upgrade civilization without the conflict machine. Without it. Just having good conversations. Pop over there and check that out. Yes, that was pretty good, wasn't it? I think it was. So yes, but the other piece I want to bring up is I do want to bring up what was actually said, or what they found, I should say. If I can show that piece. This is very interesting, what he was talking about. I will pop this piece up and you will see this, and you'll see what he was saying. The alleged, and I'm saying alleged, the alleged killer supposedly confessed, supposedly.
The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson.
Now, yes, I'm going to say it. Those you don't remember, didn't I tell you about 2 weeks ago before this happened? Danny was here, and Danny said, Larry, you don't understand. Straight men don't really like trans women. And I said, no, that's not true. I said, lots do. And I said, you're going to find more of it. You're going to find more lonely men who just want some femininity in their life. they're not finding it, particularly young men are not finding it from young women. Young women are not interested in young men. Young women are interested in older men or none, either one. They're not interested in younger men. Young men aren't finding it. He's a young man. He's going to want femininity somewhere. He's going to find it in trans women. I told you that because trans women are often very feminine. I know many of them, and many of them are very feminine. You will find that. I said, men will go there. And he did. There we go. Yet again, I was telling you I was right. I was right yet again.
The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting, and he did provide those messages to police.
Yep.
On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange, then took place.
This is a text that went back
After
and
reading
forth.
the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right? Robinson, I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer."
He calls her my love. He is clearly in love with her. Clearly. And he confided in her what he did. No one else, only to her.
Yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still.
So he actually said, I'm going to go in and scam and get back. Right?
To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry.
I'm bringing this up for a very important reason. You might say, Larry, why are you bringing this up? This is what people aren't talking about. And it's the most important piece. Of all the things, the most important piece. For those who don't know, the alleged killer, Robinson, was a misfit. He was bullied, dropped out of college, was lost, didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have friends. Yeah. What do I keep telling you? What is like at least one show per month about? Broken young men. Yes, broken young men. And you know what broke him? Do you know when he got out of high school? You know when he got out of high school? During the lockdowns. Yes, during the lockdowns. So he was wrecked by the lockdowns again. Again, he was wrecked by lockdowns. And all you people, and you see them all the time, well, the lockdowns were important, we didn't know. And I told you the lockdowns will have massive, massive outcomes, problems for years to come. They're comparing him to George Floyd, right? Oh, when George Floyd was killed, blah, blah, blah. George Floyd also died because lockdowns. What? I told you that back then. For those who don't know, George Floyd had a job. He did. Then the lockdowns came and they fired him because they laid everybody off because of lockdowns. Now, I'm not saying he was going to be some great guy. Who knows? But my point is, he wouldn't have been there high on whatever he was high on, doing whatever he was doing with his dollars he was doing, because he would have been at work. But he couldn't be because lockdowns. And then the riots, the BLM riots, where'd they come from? Everybody was at home, locked up. They wanted to come out, had a reason. That all happened because of lockdowns. Why does this guy, why does he become so despondent and spiral down a hole of terribleness to where he thinks violence is the answer? Because he's so in love with this woman that he feels he loves her so much that he will literally kill for her. I'm not joking. Who's saying that? They're touching it, but this is the most important piece. Most important piece is that. I've told you 1,000 times, a man in this world who has nothing to lose, who feels so broken, will do anything. And when I say anything, and you hear me say it, when I say anything, I mean anything. I mean, they will put you in the camp if that happens, or they will murder a young man in front of his family. They will do anything. It's not you. Some people go, well, Larry, it's about young men, not young women. Because young women, when they're in trouble, they go on TikTok and say terrible things about Charlie Kirk, which is terrible, but nobody's dying. They're horrible too, and they're hurting also, but people aren't dying. The girls don't kill people and build camps. The boys kill people and build camps. Yet more evidence of how government intervention and lockdowns got more people harmed, more people killed, more kids. You think he's the only one? There's thousands of them out there. Thousands of them out there. That's the problem that people don't want to talk about.
Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Robinson. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my...
And the old guy, by the way, supposedly said that he purposely said he was the shooter to give whoever was shooter time to escape. How horrible is that? The guy said, I'll sacrifice myself. I'll say I was. He just yelled he was the shooter. He wasn't, but he just said it because the cops would focus on him and let the other guy go. That was done on purpose. Is that horrible?
Drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but they're...
He's brilliant. He scored almost a perfect score on his tests. The guy is brilliant. He thought this whole thing through and almost got away with it. Literally almost got away with it. He made a couple mistakes. If he wouldn't have made those mistakes, we might have never found him. That's how good he was. He was brilliant.
There's one vehicle lingering.
Why isn't this guy an engineer someplace? Why isn't he a mathematician someplace? Why isn't he a business owner someplace? I'm going to tell you why. Because our system is shit. It's broken. We had lockdowns, and we've been disregarding young men for decades. And we're building these people. We're building them every day.
Roommate,
building
why?
more of them.
Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah.
Listen, why?
Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out.
And the hate was against her. Oh, I don't actually know what pronouns the person goes by. I'm going to say her. I don't know if it's her or him. So if I insult someone, I'm sorry. I don't know. So I'm going to say her. Because he loved her. She showed him love and he didn't care. And he was prepared to kill for her. And he wanted to be a tough guy.
If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence.
Duke affecting for $5. Mental illness is the missing link here. True. Granted, the stress people do horrible things, but mental illness seems to be the conduit murder takes. Yes, he is hurting. Probably she is too. They're probably all hurting. Mental illness is affecting everybody. Yes. And as I said, one of the reasons why I got myself canceled or banned, shadow type, in 2020 was, what was I saying? For those of you who followed me back then 5 years ago, I kept saying, with the lockdowns, if you have a mental illness and you don't have a addiction problem, you'll soon have both. If you have an addiction problem, you don't have a mental illness, you'll soon have both. The lockdowns made sure you couldn't get your medications, you couldn't go to your therapist, you couldn't see your support structure, you couldn't see your family, none of those things. So if you only had one, you were going to have both soon. And that happened to millions of people, millions of them.
Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it.
So he was going to rush back and get it.
Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it.
Think how smart he is. And he is confiding in only her. No one else. He is confiding in only her.
Robinson again. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle.
So he thought savvy enough that he would borrow the rifle weeks earlier so it wouldn't be obvious. And then at one point he would just return it and no one would know the difference. That's what he thought. It's actually smart. I mean,
EK, if it's had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel.
He didn't think his dad would turn him in. And his dad did. Now, I have my own issue on this. I do. As much as I do want a killer caught, I would never turn my kid in. I don't care what my kid did. Let me see a bad person, then I'm a bad person. I'm a dad first. Never. I don't care what she did. I don't care what she did. I've told my daughters to their face, remember something. I'm the only person on this planet who will help you bury the body. I would take the rap before I'd let my daughters go to jail. Literally. I don't know. I did it. It was me. I did it. It was all me. Put me in jail. I'll take the rap. I would never turn my daughters in, no matter what. I don't care what they did. No matter what. That kind of bothers me. I understand why people would do it, but I would I don't care. Larry, your daughter's a serial killer. Then I guess more people getting killed then, because I'm not turning her in. Ever. Ever.
Remember how I was engraving bullets? The F in messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke, all right. I'm going to have to leave.
Now, at that point, he was scraping stuff in. Yeah, that was on purpose.
That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine, IDK. I think that was a two.
No, I'm done with that. That's all that matters for that piece. But I wanted you to see that's what he was doing. Now, I'm going to walk. I have a couple more things to walk down, but that part's important. There is more, but I want to grab some of your comments if I can. Joe says, Bondi posted on X about this after all the backlash. She said that she meant hate speech that is direct threats or incites violence. I don't believe her update. It was out of good faith, though. I think she got caught. I agree with you, Joe. I think she's full of shit. I think she honestly believes it. I think she's still going to go after it. I think she was seeing how far she can go. Yes. Bronner says, hate speech is part of free speech. True. It's becoming illegal to speak critically of the state of Israel. True. Pansy citizenry and authoritarian politicians, pissing them both. Yes and yes. Yes. Absolutely. So, all righty. Marshall says, freedom to associate is as powerful as freedom to disassociate. It requires no new laws. Yes, which is why I'm saying, if you want to say, I don't want to be around these people because they say these words, absolutely. I don't want to hire these people. Yep. I don't do business with these people. Yes, of course. Whoever these people are. I have no problem with that. Unless, and again, I say the same thing, Marshall, unless the government is squeezing you, then I have a problem with it. That's the issue. Dave says, Larry, here's an idea. Anyone who has the following books in their library, they are automatically under arrest. Improvise. I'm not saying this. Okay. I'm not saying these words because you're going to get me canceled. And how about no? But I like the idea. I do. But I like what you say. It's fun, I should say. But no, I think it's funny. So yes. All righty. Craig is mad. Craig says, I hate Pam Bondi. She doesn't understand the Constitution. She understands. She doesn't care. You're wrong on that one, Craig. She completely understands. Pam Bondi is not stupid. She absolutely understands the Constitution. You may not like her, right? And here's the problem. And I say it all the time. When you have, when you hate someone, don't like them, or they're the bad guy, you give them the one-word story. They tend to have all the bad adjectives. They're dumb, but they're also brilliant. But they're dangerous, but they're also weak, right? They're all the things. She is not stupid. She understands it completely, Craig. She doesn't care. That's the issue. She totally understands it. She does not care. I would say that's actually worse. Because if she didn't understand it, at least you could educate her, right? If she actually didn't get it, if she was like, I don't understand this First Amendment thing. If that were real, it's not. But if it was, you could then educate her and go, oh, no, let me explain. Let me show you. Let me give you some history. And she can go, oh, I was wrong. No, she totally gets it. She doesn't care. There's no educating her. There is shaming her maybe, or fear maybe, so she won't do the thing. Even if she won't do it, she would if she could. She doesn't care. Sandra says, at least with government officials, ideally, also media, you can get points across in civilized manner without calling people Hitler. In theory, yes, but in practically you can't. It falls back to other guy bad. It just falls back to other guy bad all the time, right? It just keeps falling back to that. So yeah. All righty. We keep going down. I'm trying to grab as many as I possibly can here or there. I'm trying to get the members first if I can. The major news outlets profit from keeping us angry, confused, and divided. Yes. Thank you for being a member, Patty. By the way, guys, if you want to support the show, there's many ways you can. Some of you are seeing it already. You can always, if you want to, you can always super chat me if you like. You can super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble. Both of those are good ways to support the show. If you want to become a member, Patty's a member. If you want to, $49 per month. Every time I get another member, it makes things easier. Less work I have to do during the day, and I can spend more time doing this. Sometimes I get so packed. Couldn't do a show yesterday at all. Just too packed up with work. I couldn't get stuff done. And so when I'm able to work less, because I don't have a job, I'm a consultant. If I'm not in front of clients, I'm not getting paid. So I have a lot of work I have to do. So the more of that I have, the better off. So if you can become a member, please do so. Click that join button on Sharpe YouTube. It's helpful if you can do it. If not, it's something easy you can do. Click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Click that like button. That's all that matters. Click that like button. It does matter. If you can share or repost it, please do so. Share it into a Facebook group right now. Share it on YouTube. Share it, restream this on X, whatever the case may be. Every little bit counts. If you can help out, please do so. More people watching, the better. So thank you for that. If you can do that, please help out if you can. So, all righty. Let me keep going down some more of these if I can. All righty. Let's see here. Patty, sorry. Literally says, who wants to hear a dirty joke from Larry? I don't know. I haven't said one in a while. I got to remember some of my old dirty jokes. I don't remember. I can't say them on YouTube. I'll get canceled. So you'll have to come to an event for that, which, by the way, I was at 5 events last weekend. For those you don't know, I was in Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk, and Staten Island and Westchester. I did a downstate tour last night. Usually I'm upstate. I probably do 4 upstate tours for every 1 downstate because there's so many more counties upstate. But there are more people downstate, so I got to spend time down here too. So, but I have 2 or 3 or 4 to 1. So in 2 weeks, not this weekend, but next weekend, I'll be way out west, Chautauqua, Yates, Wyoming, out there in all those counties. So if those of you guys want to see that, you can come see me then. I will post that when the time comes. So Phil, thank you for the $1 over on Rumble. I can't help but compare the father in Utah with the mother of the guy who stabbed the girl in Charlotte. They try to raise a child right. Sometimes you can't rescue someone going down a bad path. Yes, I'm with you on both of those, right? The guy who stabbed the girl in Charlotte, also a monster, but also a victim. Both. I think you're right, both. And the mom tried. She did. The mom knew he was in trouble. The mom said, he needs to try. The mom put him away. And the judge let him out. The mom's like, I'm scared. He's a problem. He's going to harm people. Please lock him up. When your mom tells people, you got to lock my son up. If I ever had to lock my daughter up, that means my daughter is a menace. Like she is going to start murdering everybody. Like that was what it would take. If I had locked my daughter up, that means I really believe she's just going to destroy herself and others. So when the father does the daughter or the mother does the son and says, lock him up, listen, judge, listen. Like, listen. Mom's not doing it because she's bored. She's doing it because it's a problem. In that system there, the judge failed the system. And the judge who let him out should be punished for her death. I'm not joking. I say it publicly. The judge who let him out after mom said, please keep my son in. And the judge said, no, go out. And then he stabbed that girl in the subway. The judge should pay a price for that. And in a longer run, all the judges who let those lockdowns happen, every one of them should be punished. Because the lockdowns is why this happened to Charlie Kirk. Yes, did I blame government for this? I did. Not like, this government. No. This guy, and there are thousands like him who are sitting in some chat room right now prepared to do some stupid shit because they don't care. Because things like the lockdowns and the failed system has wrecked them all. and they don't care. And I've been talking about it forever. 10 million young men have checked out. How many times I got to tell you that? Between 7 and 10 million have checked out. Mike Rowe says it. I say it. You see it all the time. He is just one of them. He is one of them. And he found love in this woman that he was with. And he wanted to be the tough guy and defend her and have purpose. He wanted all those things. He wanted that. And he thought, aha, this guy who was anti my lover, I'll do it. What I know he thought, just because I'm a man, he thought he could go off, be a hero for his lover, and come back and live happy ever after somehow. He thought that. I mean, obviously that's a fantasy, but he thought something like that. Of course he did. Or he's going to show her or do something great. That's what he thought. He was going to be the main character. He thought, I'm going to be the main character. Well, that's true. He's the main character. He did get that right, but it's not the story he wants. It's not the story he wants. To go back to leave it $10. Don't know how I feel about that. I have twin boys. I don't know how I deal with one of them being a murderer. Do we want to raise strong children or coddle them when they commit evil? I want to raise strong children, and I don't trust the system at all in any way, shape, or form. I've watched many people be destroyed by it. If there is any punishment, then it needs to be something else. Cosmic punishment, heavenly punishment, social punishment. The system doesn't work. I've consulted in it too much. I've watched. I think I still have PTSD on this because I'm still emotional about it. Still, and it's been years. Maybe 10 years, maybe. I don't remember how long it's been. When I first saw an innocent man go to jail, someone who I knew was innocent. You might go, Larry, how do you know? Because when I consult with defense attorneys, I'm on the defense side. So I know who's guilty in that because they tell us everything. So I know people who are guilty and who aren't, right? And if they're guilty, you want to get the fairest possible judgment for them and the fairest possible sentencing for them. People don't know that there's actually like a sentencing piece too, like part of the trial, right? How do you negotiate with sentencing? What do you do? How do you talk to the judge? You want people to get, when people do things wrong, you don't want them going to jail for 30 years when they should go to jail for 5. You want them going to jail for what they did. Part of a good attorney, defense attorney, is they'll also negotiate that too. So sometimes you want to plead. Sometimes you do want to plead, right? Sometimes you do. Okay, he did it. How do we get around it? How do we get the best possible sentence for the person that you can possibly get to give them a second chance at life? All those things, right? And when they're innocent, you don't want them to go to jail. And when I watch the system just not give a shit at all, I see our justice system as a punishment system, and it's a meat grinder for souls. It is a soul meat grinder. It grinds people into the ground, and nobody cares. Once you are convicted, nobody cares about you at all, whether you're guilty, innocent. In fact, actually, once you're arrested, I actually remember a DA once saying, yeah, they're innocent until proven broke. That was an officer of the state who said innocent until proven broke. So we will just wreck them until they don't have any money, and then we'll put them away. Yep. I've always said this. Not always. For at least the last 10 years, I've been saying this. In America, can you get a fair trial? You can. And that's the advantage that other countries that you don't always get. In America, you can get a fair trial. If you can write a check to lawyers for 6 figures or more, if you're available to do that, you can get a fair trial. You can. It's the truth, and you can. If you can write a check for 7 figures or more, you got a shot at getting off even if you're guilty. We've seen that with others. Possible. If you cannot write a check for 6 figures or more, if you are not able to do that, and you are arrested and charged, you are guilty. Doesn't matter if you are. You're guilty. Just plea. You're guilty. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And most of it's because the judges are horrible and because juries don't know any better, and they will stop them. So, yes. Anyway, so yes, I have issues. Clearly, Duke, I have issues. I got some PTSD, brother, that maybe others are dealing with, but I'm still dealing with that. So, yes. All right. IC says, Vance is low-key threatening the livelihood of individuals. True? Yes. K. John says, you can pry my free speech out of my goddamn free mouth. DT is creeping pox on this country. I am unhappy about where he's going with this. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I'm not alone. If you look at what's happening with Trump right now, most Republicans still support Trump. The data is in. You can see it in polling. most Republicans still support Trump. He has not lost most Republicans, but he had last year a lot of independents, and earlier this year, a lot of independents. I would argue he probably had more than 50% of independents. He had lots of them last year and earlier this year. The independents are walking away from him. They are. I think, Kayjan, a lot of independents are walking away. But they don't want to go to Democrats. The Democrats are so bad. So they're just staying independent. You're seeing them kind of walk away and decide which one depends upon, which I think is actually better for the country in general. So, yeah. Patty says, they want a civil war. I want my neighbors to have health care when they're sick, food when they're hungry, and comfort when sad. We are the same. True. Phil, thank you for the $1. He says the Buffalo grocery store shooter also went down a bad path during the pandemic, during lockdowns. Correct. Yes, another one. Same story, Phil. You remember that. Here in New York State, the Buffalo shooter had the same story. Went down a horrible path, was sitting home, and went down a cycle. Yes. And he realized that the evil he did too late. The lockdowns were evil. The lockdowns were evil. Oh, we got to save the elderly so we can sacrifice an entire generation of young men. So we can sacrifice an entire generation of young men. That was the answer. All right. Speaking of that, I do want to cover this piece if I could. All right. And hold on. This is from Crystal and Friends. She actually did a decent piece here. And I'm not always a Crystal fan, but in this one, she was on the nose. She actually picked something exactly correct.
The early days of divining these specific motivations and downward spiral that led Tyler Robinson to go from Mormon conservative upbringing to public execution of a leading Trump world figure.
Hold on. Duke of X. Thank you, Duke, for the $5. With all the respect, what is the one thing you learned from your mother being a felon that you wouldn't know without firsthand knowledge? The thing that there were several things that I learned from that, Duke. And as you know, I have PTSD from being with the system. So maybe you and I have a different, what's that phrase? Lived experience. You and I have different lived experience. There are many reasons why I support the policies that I support. One of them, obviously, is my mother's. For those of you who don't know, my mother was an addict and a felon. And when my father passed when I was 11 or 12, I forgot I was a kid when he passed, my mom really couldn't handle it. It was just devastating for her. He was young. He was 41. She was only 35 when he died. She was a widow at 35. He died at 41. I was a kid. And life was very hard for us. And his entire family abandoned us. So we were on our own, just totally on our own. And my mom's an immigrant. So even worse. Mom, she passed, but she was an immigrant. So even harder for us. So I hated home life. I hated high school. I wanted out. So at 17, I joined the Marine Corps and I leave. I take off and I'm gone. My mom couldn't handle it. That was too much for her. She spiraled into a horrible place and was an addict and eventually lost everything and she was in prison. So I got her out. And I lost all my money because any money I'd saved in the Marine Corps, I spent it all on her. I got her an apartment. I got her a car. I had to reboot her because she had nothing. She literally had 2 garbage bags. She came out of jail with 2 garbage bags. That's what she had. That was her entire life. And I was like, okay, I guess here I go. So I just took everything I had. I went into debt and I just took care of her. She's my mother. What am I going to do? She was literally my only family. I'm an only child. Father's dead. The rest of his family just abandoned us. Her family's still in Germany and abandoned her basically because she left to marry an American. So that was the end. So I said, okay. So I did this. And what I learned is the system doesn't give a shit about you. I didn't want to believe that. I was a Marine. I was in the system. It didn't want to give a shit about her. And she had to lie on her forms saying she wasn't a felon because if she was a felon, they couldn't hire her. No big business would hire her because she had gaps. And they thought the gaps meant she was doing something bad. The only people who gave her a chance were diners. I'm not joking. She made a living being a server at diners because they would take her up. The local people, the local community gave her a chance because they were like, we need workers. You'll do it. And when my mom first came to this country, she worked in restaurants because it's the only thing she could do. She had no skill set. So she learned skill sets and eventually got jobs at banks and such, but she couldn't get a job in a bank anymore. She was a felon, but she can get a job doing that, right? Being a waitress. So she did that until she had some time. And then she got a couple jobs, but she was always afraid because she knew that at any time they could fire her, she might not be able to get a job. And when she got another job that wasn't a waitress job, that was an office job, she had lied on her form. Of course, she lied, said she wasn't a felon, and she was hoping they'd never find out, but she was always afraid. She was a hostage at her job. And her being a hostage at her job, I hated it. God, I hated it. She couldn't stand up for herself. She couldn't ask for a raise because she couldn't gamble that they would fire her. There was nothing for her if they would fire her. And on top of that, she was always afraid that they were going to find out and do a background check, whatever, and come in and one day she's going to walk in. And anytime they said you want to come to the office, she thought, okay, they found that I'm a felon, they're going to fire me. And I said, I don't want my mom to be a felon anymore. No. So at that point, when I made a decision, I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm not having my mom being a hostage anymore. I'm not doing this. I'm gonna fix this. And I thought, how do you make it when you can't be fired? Well, you're the boss. If you're the boss, no one can fire you. So I said, okay, I'm gonna have my mom be an entrepreneur. That's how I got into entrepreneurship, Duke. That's how I got into entrepreneurship, to save my mom. It's a true story. So I said, we're going to start a trucking business because she could drive, right? That's a license. The only thing she could get was a driver's license. Otherwise, she was a felon. That's all she could do. So she got a driver's license, right? So you got a driver's license. We got the largest truck you can get in New York State without needing a CDL, which is a commercial driver's license. I think at the time it was a 24-footer. I don't know if that's still true, but back then I think we got whatever the biggest one was. I think it was 24-footer. If you're that or smaller, you didn't require a commercial driver's license. So we bought one of those, buying that. And my stepdad was there. She had remarried another guy who was my stepdad. He was in her life now. And I'm like, we're starting a business and my mom's going to be 100% owner. He said, wait a minute, I'm in this business too. I said, yes. What, I'm not an owner? No. What about you? You going to be an owner? I said, no. He said, so we're going to work for her. I said, yes. He said, no, I want to be an owner. I said, no, then no deal. He said, what do you mean? I said, my mom will be 100% owner. She'll never be fired. Never. He said, okay. Okay. She was 100% owner for that business. Never fired again. Sorry, moving on. That's why I came out entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs helped my mother and saved her from being a hostage. That's what I learned. I hope that was clear. Can't be going. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's keep going for Chrysler and friends.
One piece of his ideology is pretty clear. Edgelord. According to authorities, the one piece of evidence Robinson intentionally discarded was his weapon and ammunition engraved with various irony-laden brain rot internet phrases.
The casing on the shot that ended Charlie Kirk's life was engraved with a 12-year-old furry bashing meme. Notice his bulge, ooh woo, what's that? Yep. Which tells us an important thing. This assassination was a shitpost. That is the lens to analyze it through. Another of the casings references a video game, Helldivers 2, and a specific bomb that you could send on your enemies in the game with the command up, right, down, down, down. Now
you might say, why does this stuff matter? This matters because this is what the lost generation understands. This is what the lost generation understands. Why? They're all gamers sitting at home, not working. This is what the NEETs understand. Remember NEET, N-E-E-T? Not in education, not in employment, not in training. This is what they understand. This was for all of them.
And line sort of became a meme in image boards where it would be deployed to kind of represent, ending an argument, but almost more so as just like, if you know, you know. And that sort of signals the in-group there. Another of the four casings references Bella Ciao, which is an Italian anti-fascist anthem from the World War II era that has stuck around and remained very popular online. It's been used both in left and right-wing political contexts, and it's used in a lot of video games. And then the fourth and final shell casing was engraved with, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. This was a shitpost. It was designed to be maximally disruptive and incomprehensible.
And that piece is, right, people might say that, well, if you read this, you're gay, as an insult to gay people. It is not. It's just an insult, period.
Cloaked in layer upon layer of irony so that nobody would know what he really meant unless they were our guy. This performs a kind of nihilism that plays really, really well on particular image boards and Discord servers where
this guy's right. Like, he gets it. I've never seen this guy before. I don't know who he is, but he is right on the money.
This guy spent most of his life. And I say most of his life because that furry meme is from 2013. He He was 10 years old when it was first posted and became popular. He, like you and I, grew up alongside this part of the internet that trickled out through the other platforms that we went on and has actually informed and driven a lot of our politics.
If you're reading this, you're gay, laughing my ass off. The world of internet memes and black pill, nothing matters humor bursting into the real world.
That's it. What did she just say? Nothing matters humor. What is the most dangerous thing in the world? A man with nothing to lose. You can't stop that guy. You can't stop him. The left will go, we're going to shame him. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. The right will go, we'll just get more cops and kill him. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Your left and right answers don't matter. They don't matter. He doesn't care. You're not going to stop him with, I'll shake my fist or I'll call them names. He doesn't give a shit. It doesn't matter.
In the form of a public spectacle of murder. The ultimate way, I guess, to achieve notoriety both IRL and online, to guarantee you live forever in internet lore and political history, to enlist yourself as a warrior in some imagined cause, to make it so your piece of shit life leaves a mark.
I've been saying that, but she, of course, has to insult. You didn't have to do the piece of shit part. But yes, these guys are lost. These guys are lost.
Robinson was extremely online, apparently, but not in the way that someone like me might have meant it. In the race to turn up a social media footprint for Robinson and uncover the killer's true ideological motives, internet sleuths have come up pretty empty-handed. His brand of way too online was apparently Discord servers, video games, perhaps some black pill meme-soaked message boards. That's what we're being told anyway. And if this is true, Robinson appears to be part of a broader trend. We are witnessing the rise of the black pill killers, predominantly young white male misanthropes, memeing themselves into radicalism and violence.
This part's true. This part's true. It is broken young men. They're the ones who are going to follow him. They're the ones who are copying him. They're the ones who have given up. And you might go, but Larry, they're from wealthy families. They have no purpose. But Larry, they're really smart. They have no purpose. Luigi is from a wealthy family. This guy's from a middle-class family, and he's clearly super smart. Doesn't matter. But Larry, they're good-looking men. The women don't want them, and they don't want the women. Pair bonding.
You don't have to look far for some other examples. In fact, on that very same day that Tyler was allegedly lying on a roof, meme-laden ammo in hand, 16-year-old Desmond Hawley shot up his Denver area's high school, critically injuring 2 students before turning the gun on himself. Hawley was apparently fond of neo-Nazi symbology and a gore forum called Watch People Die.
Why would you watch a forum where you watch people die? Because you're a nihilist and you don't care. You know when you go into that school, you're going to devastate people's lives. You don't care. You know you're probably going to die or go to jail forever. You don't care. How do you stop that? We'll have more laws. Don't mean shit. Well, I'll have gun laws. Doesn't matter. We'll shame them and call them names and they're dumb and they're pieces of shit. Doesn't matter. What matters? Hope. Larry, that sounds really cheesy and dumb. Yeah, and it's true. It's what I've been talking about forever. It's what I keep talking about. This is the thing you're not hearing. That's what matters.
Lionized previous school shooters, including the Columbine killers who kicked off the school shooting horror in the very same county where Hawley would then go on to conduct his own rampage. According to the Denver Post, Hawley's online profile was, quote, littered with references to mass shootings and anti-Semitic views. A sheriff's office spokesperson said he had been, quote, radicalized through an online extremist network, but has left details of that network vague. Hawley also apparently drew inspiration from a different black pill Wisconsin mass shooter whose alleged manifesto was titled, quote, War Against Humanity. In that manifesto, the author writes that humans are filth and society is a plague. And
of course you think that. Because you don't feel loved, you don't feel respected, and you have no purpose. Who's been talking about that for 8 years? Oh, right, me. Yeah. Yes. Sometimes I am so tired of being right. Sometimes I'm tired of being right.
Scum. This all, of course, follows closely on the heels of the mass shooting at Church of the Annunciation in Minneapolis. That killer, Robin Westman, posted a long YouTube video including journal writings littered with internet and cultural references that were all over the map and very confusing. In particular, Westman's weapons were inscribed with over 100 different symbols and messages, things like release the list, nuke India, skibbity, some Cyrillic writing, and references to a bunch of other school shooters. Potentially the most revealing inscription said, quote, "There is no message." Now, some analysts have theorized that Westman may have been radicalized by an online nihilist subculture that glorifies acts of violence as in-group currency called.
That's true. That's true. That's my point. The only place they can feel like they have done something is by being violent and being brave. Men want to be brave. Men want to slay the dragon, right? We want to do that. That's what, particularly young men. I mean, maybe I don't want to slay dragons anymore, but young men particularly want to slay dragons and do the cool thing. Of course, so the cool movies, even the cool movies don't do it anymore. You can't even find it in cool movies anymore. Oh,
764 or 09A. Could be, but who knows? Westman also had a history of mental illness, intrusive violent thoughts, and suicidal ideation.
Of course, mental illness and suicidal thoughts everywhere. Mental illness is the piece we're not talking about.
Trump's attempted assassin, Thomas Matthew Crooks, might also fit the mold of the black pill killer. Like Robinson, Crooks was a high academic achiever. He scored a 1530 on his SAT. Classmates describe him as a bit of a loner, a bit of an outcast. Frequently,
a loner and an outcast, all of them are that. All of them are that. There's the common denominator. I've said this back in 2018. I said this 7 years ago. I said, what are the two common denominators between, I was talking about school shooters back then. This is before we're doing this stuff, right? School shooting now is passé. I never thought I would say that. But yeah, it is. It's passé now. I do something else now. That's so 2020 or whatever the hell it is. You don't do it anymore. I can do something else. Yeah. That's how you, I've been talking about this for 7 years, 8 years, saying the two things that are common among these shooters. One is what they do have and they don't have. They do have a prescription. They don't have a girlfriend. This guy kind of has a girlfriend. So I'm not sure about that, but the rest don't.
Bullied. His Google history showed that he was searching for information on depression. Authorities have never fully explained a motive for his attempt on Trump's life, but he was apparently searching for nearby appearances for a whole host of political figures.
And that's the problem. This is the issue that she's actually getting something here. And she's doing it for the wrong reason. Her reason is she doesn't want to blame the left for the violence. That's her reason. But she has actually popped up on something that actually is important. And that is that without this group of neat men, without these young men who are lost, none of this happens. Well, Larry, the left is saying how bad everything is and cornered by not. Yeah, but if there's no foot soldiers to pull the trigger, it doesn't matter, does it? Well, the right's going to build the camps. But if there's no foot soldiers to build the camps, it doesn't matter, does it? That's the issue. If there's whatever bad thing you want to get done, it will take young, broken men to do it. They're always the ones who do it. If you have less broken young men, there's less people to do the bad thing. You can yell about how the right's Nazis and get them all. But it takes this guy. He's got to be a broken man to go do the bad thing. They're going to build the camp. Broken men will build the camps. That's the piece you're not getting.
From Joe Biden to Merrick Garland to Catherine, Princess of Wales, in addition to Trump, suggesting he was basically open to murdering any major political figure who happened to come nearby. Officials found a social media account linked to Crooks that they said had allegedly posted extreme anti-Semitic and anti-immigrant content. Now, in each instance, the overarching ideology here appears to be nihilism.
Yes, which is why they will attack the sacred cows. So if you can't be anti-Semitic, they will be anti-Semitic. If you can't be anti-gay, they'll be anti-gay. If you can't be anti-whatever, they will be the thing. They will be whatever you cannot be. So whenever you go, you can't, how dare you? That's what they are. And they may not be it. I'm not saying they are or aren't, but they may not be it. They might not actually be anti-Semitic. I have no idea if they are, but they'll be it anyway. Because, yeah, they'll do it anyway. Yes, that's the piece. So, hey, Seuss, how are you? Thank you for the 499. Son of Sam said, a smile or kindness could delay his urge to kill, making him feel briefly human. Yeah. Yes, another lonely dude. Yes. So look, think about it. This guy who literally knew what he was doing, planned in advance, and planned meticulously because he was smart. He planned to murder a young man in front of his family and thousands of people. He planned it. He knew what he was doing. This is not something he just, tomorrow. No, he planned it. He made that entire thing. And who did he confide in? One person. The one person who gave him, to your point, Jesus, smiling and kindness. And from what we know, he wasn't gay. I mean, maybe he was. Before we know he wasn't. From what we know, she was a trans woman. He didn't care. He didn't care. He just wanted someone to love or to love him. And he didn't have that. With her, he did. And he confided only in her. And would do anything to impress her or to defend her. In his broken mind, what he did was slaying the evil dragon who hated his princess. And I know some of you are like, what? And you want to throw up in your mouth when I say it. But that's what he thought. That's what was going on in his head. That is how broken our young men are. They are broken, and there's millions of them. We have to fix this. And it's not just going, the Republicans, the Trump, Orange Man better, the Dems, the Mom Donnie's better. That's not gonna help. It's not gonna help at all.
Belief that nothing matters, humanity is garbage, the world is ending, everything sucks, and there is no redemption. Yep. It is this black pill belief that spawns a trans neo-Nazi school shooter posting racist internet crap alongside Trump hate, or a gun-loving white guy scrawling, "Hey, fascist, catch." In a truly excellent new piece, Freddie DeBoer argues that in these spectacular acts of political violence, we are witnessing murder as a form of meaning-making, with the ideological content scraped together semi-randomly.
Acts of public violence.
In a desperate attempt by the killer to cast themselves as part of some broader community and project. DeBoer calls this, quote, cargo cult meaning-making. He writes, the tail wags the dog. Acts we have grown to see as expressions of meaning are in fact childish attempts to will meaning into being through violence.
Now, you might say to yourself, Larry, I get it, right? I get it. But this is something new. How are we supposed to handle this? This is something that is brand new. Shouldn't we have, whatever. Is it new though? Is it new? Who's been talking about this since, 6 or 7 years? Oh, wait, me. This is me with my cool shirt from back then. 2018.
Problem with school shootings, right? There's two things to remember, as you've heard me say before. The school shooting, while it is a murder, at its core, it's actually a public suicide.
Who the hell said that 7 years ago? So, look, I'm happy Crystal figured this out. I am. I'm happy she figured it out. You're 70 years too late. I figured this shit out 7 years ago. I was talking about it 7 years ago. And you know who else talked about it? Fucking nobody. They ignored me. I've been talking about this for years. The answers have been on my goddamn website.
And people to understand that at its core, most mass shootings are public suicides. They would understand that it's true. It's like death by cop, right? It's public suicide. So you have to make sure you have happier people.
Happier people.
But then why did they choose schools? Several reasons. One, because that's where their assumed enemies are, right? The incels think that the bad guys.
I was talking about incels getting their enemies. Huh? Isn't that weird? I was talking about incels getting their enemies 8 years ago. Huh? Weird how that works. Weird how I knew
Guys,
that.
the bad girls were there. But something else, they're soft targets. The other thing you remember from all these school shootings is they're planned. And that's a critical aspect. You want to stop school shooting? In New York State, you don't have to pass one extra law at all. Have to do one minor thing and one thing only. And that is.
And this was a stop school shooting, a different issue though, yes.
If you are a licensed, if you're licensed and you have a permit to carry a firearm, if you want to in school, you may. If you're a teacher.
That was it. You may. That was my answer. You may if you want to. Why? It would make it not a hard target
or
anymore.
an administrator. If you want to, you may. That's it. You don't have to force a teacher to carry. You don't need a resource officer. Why? Because if you have a resource officer, which is what most Republicans will say, put an officer there, they'll just shoot him first.
Because they plan. He was planning. And if you notice that when the school shootings come up, what do they do recently? They shoot the officer first. What I said 7 years ago.
If you allow Democrats, no guns. They'll shoot everybody. So if you instead say, well, I don't know who's armed. Is it an administrator? Is it a teacher? Is it everybody? Is it nobody? The planning goes away. Once there's no planning available, the school is no longer a soft target. They stop choosing the school.
Okay, let's unpack this. So you're saying that if you have an officer on the school that carries a gun and this person knows that officer has a gun, they will shoot him first.
Correct.
And that if just teachers.
Now, this is before that was happening. Now that's what happens.
Teachers are carrying guns. There's no way this person knows. And so they're less likely to shoot people.
There's two things. Here's the core of it. What's killing our children? It's not
firearms.
firearms.
Not firearms.
One of the, I think it was a Texas shooting. I think it was. Before he stole the guns, he had put together and set up pipe bombs and pressure cooker bombs in case he couldn't steal the guns. So if he couldn't get guns, he was going to kill people anyway. The key thing here is what's killing these kids. Lack of community, lack of purpose, and loneliness.
Huh. That sounds like Black Pill. That sounds like what Crystal just did, like a whole deep dive on shit and figured out like today, which I knew 8 years ago, which I had talked about 8 years ago. The three things that are killing our kids, which means kill Charlie Kirk, which means killing our children in schools. Lack of community, lack of purpose, and loneliness. That's what's killing them. That's it. I talked about it years ago. It was true years ago, and it's true today. So last piece I want to, let me bring it up because I do want to cover one thing which I just like. This is a personal thing for me I want to bring up just because I like it personally. I will pop this last piece up if I can. See if I can find one part that I like. I'll keep moving down this road here. It's a piece I want to keep going that I just enjoy.
That's what's killing our kids. Those three things. Take those three things away. Kids don't do that. You give a kid who's 16, 17, 18 purpose. He can't go off and kill people. He has something to do. He has a reason to live. Remember, it's a public suicide.
He has a reason to live. No more nihilism. Yes.
If you have a reason to live and you think the right answer is to go do something, you don't kill yourself. If you don't kill yourself, there's no public suicide. Mass shootings all of a sudden are tremendously reduced. It's just how it works. It's human nature. You have to understand that. But if you do that, then there's no extra law. Then there's no one to point a finger at. You can't restrict guns. What I'm saying just makes actual sense.
And this is the part that no one's talking about. Still, even though she brought this up, that was nice. I got to give it that, at least Crystal brought this up. That's a wonderful thing. I'm glad she brought it up. That's good. Not mad at that. Not mad at that. But where is I don't know, Pam Bondi? Where is, I don't know, Chuck Schumer? Where is Donald Trump? Where is whoever is the person? Where is Stephen Miller? You pick the person who's going, you know what? We got some unhappy kids we got to fix. Nowhere. The left is either going, good, he's gone, or they're going, oh, we need to turn the temperature down. They're saying that, one or the other, or trying to somehow find a reason for it not to be them. And the right's going, put them all in jail, cancel them all. No one's saying this.
Where you and I break company, because I don't agree with that. I don't think that anyone is trying to keep these school shootings in the same state they are now. I think that there's two things. One, no one wants to demonize psychotropic drugs, and especially politicians. They have a really hard time with that.
Sure.
Because they don't want to tell people who are on psychotropic drugs that they're either suspects or suspicious or potential mass shooters.
New York State showing you it's incorrect. We made the SAFE Act. And the SAFE Act literally says if you go on these drugs, you lose your firearm. So that's absolutely not true in New York State. It may be true in California. I don't know your laws here. But in New York State,
so that was my issue. I was in California. He was in California at the time. I was talking about New York State. Oh, he might have been right in California. He was not right in New York State.
Opposite is true. We've already done that. We have made our medical personnel part of our secret state police, which means if you go in and say, I'm feeling depressed, I need some drugs, I'm thinking about suicide, the state police might come by and take your firearms.
That happens in New York
That's already happening in New York State.
Yep.
And they now want to create red flag laws, which means a teacher can now do it.
Yep.
So now a teacher says, oh, there's a student who I see drew a firearm, he drew a gun, cops and robbers, maybe a red flag. Let me go to a judge and see if I can have the cops go and take his father's firearms.
I definitely.
Now, I was talking about how bad the SAFE Act was in 2018. It's been 7 years. It's just worse. I've been talking how red flag laws don't work. We have red flag laws in New York State. We have them. And we just had mass shootings. They don't work either.
I want to talk about this, but I want to bring it back to what you said earlier. You don't think they want to fix the problem.
Yeah,
I don't think that's true. I just don't think they have a viable solution
that
they think is politically viable.
Now, he said they don't have a viable solution, right? I bring that up because Nick just says, Larry, you're a smart man, but you can't be the only one. Of course not. I've put this on my website. Like I put all my plans on my website, LarrySharpe.com. You can check it out if you want to. Why the hell haven't other guys in position of authority thought of this? You can't be the only one. Some have. Some don't care.
Perhaps, but I think my solution seems politically viable. People, everyone I say this to, they go, oh, wow, you're right.
Yep.
Well, you are definitely right that they're lonely, sad people that are last.
I just want to read the part where Joe Rogan says I'm right. I wanted you to see that because
I think you're definitely right that in many instances it's a public suicide.
Yep.
And I think you're definitely right that the vast majority of them are on psychotropic drugs, which do have a disassociative aspect to them where they're not even sure they're aware of what they're doing. This is if you talk to people that have been on those.
Yeah.
Well, people that have been on these things don't mean anything anymore. Right. Like a car.
Things don't mean anything anymore. Nihilism. I will stop. That was my point of personal privilege. I like when Joe Rogan says that I'm correct. I just wanted you guys to see that. So yeah, some of you have seen that interview, some of you haven't. That was from almost 8 years ago now. 7 years ago now? 7 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah. That's where it is now. I've been talking about this for literally years. It's been on my website for years. It is terrible. So let me grab some more comments if I could. I know you guys, I appreciate you guys letting me do that. But there's one thing I would like you to do if you don't mind. It is the perfect time, what's happening, what we're talking about, for one important piece. And that, believe it or not, is, if you want to, if you can, please do me a favor, heading over to the advocates and take the censorship and free speech, survey. Look, now is literally the perfect time to take the censorship and free speech survey on the advocates. Click the link that is in the description. You see the description, there's a link that says link to advocates. Please use that specific link. Use that link, head on over there, go to single issue surveys, click the censorship and free speech link. Take the survey right now. When you're done taking it, do me a small favor. Share it. Share it in any social media you want. Put it in your Facebook page, put it wherever it is. I don't care where you want to put it wherever you want. Put it someplace where people can see and put that same link there so they can see your results. Why? People will start talking about it even more. And I want more people talking about these issues, coming to the advocates and having these conversations. If you notice what I keep doing, I am not about just yelling, the left is right, the right is wrong. But I don't do that. I'm trying to have real conversation with real concepts and ideas and pushing past it's the Dems, it's the Republicans, orange man bad. I'm trying to push past that. The advocates push past that. We start having real conversations about real issues. It's theadvocates.org, but click the specific link there because that link lets them know that you came through me. Click that link, take this one. Larry, I took it. Take it again. Take it again and share it so more people will keep doing this and talking. It does matter. Please take it. It does matter. Please do so. Click that specific link. Thank you so much to our sponsor that helping to support the show. It's free. Last time I asked you to do something, I was asking you to give me $4 per month. Here's free. I was asking you to sign up for Civil. Here it's free. It's free. Do this. Support the show. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. All right, let me grab some more of these if I can. All right, I have so many of these comments. I'm trying to grab some more of these comments. Liberal Lady says, who loves Larry watching Larry? I have been doing this for a long time, so yes. Missy says, Larry Sharpe is right. Most of us. True. Yes. Mike says, where did the black pill come from, Crystal? Who made red black pill necessary? School indoctrination to identity progressive politics. I'm not sure I'd go there. I don't think it's that crystal clear. I think the entire system's broken. I think, and I'll use a quote that I love. I think it was millennials. I think it was someone said on millennials. They were born into betrayal. And I think that's accurate. They were born into betrayal. They were told that they were going to do this great stuff and everything was going to be wonderful, and it never was. And I think that's a critical piece. It never was. Everything they were told was a lie. Everything they were told didn't work the way it was supposed to work. And now they think, oh my God, why bother? Nothing can go well. So I think it's more of that. So yeah, I don't think it's just Democrats. I just don't see it. I mean, the Patriot Act is all Republicans. Well, Democrats too, but heavily Republicans. So yes. So I'm not sure that's true. Patty says, I try to do acts of random kindness a day, giving people glimmers of hope. We need it. We need it. Yes. Joel says, making home ownership unobtainable is part of the 15-minute city plan. You'll own nothing. Here's one of the problems, Joel. What I've said before. Our system has made necessities expensive and luxuries cheap. It's exactly the opposite of what it should be. And when Americans were happiest, it was the reverse. We were happiest Americans when people could buy a house on one, thing, but maybe you can only afford to go on vacation one time per year, right? Maybe you only got to have one really nice dress or one really nice suit, but you were able to have a car and have good food and have a home and have healthcare. You got all the important things, and luxuries were tougher to get. That's when America was happy. We've reversed it. So now everybody feels like I'm a loser. Why? Because I can't get healthcare, because I can't get a good job, because I can't get my house. Yes, how we all feel. Well, because grandpa got it, grandma got it. Why can't I get it? System's changed. And this is, I know Mike wants to say it's just Democrats. It's not. It's both. In the last 100 years, both have been in charge. Last 20 years, both have been in charge, right? Democrats have owned the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and the presidency all at the same time in the last 25 years. And Republicans have owned all of them also the same. And what has changed? Nothing. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. So it's easy to just blame one side, but it isn't. It isn't. So Nick says, we have to address young people on purpose and unity. We must bring that back. If we don't, they won't care when Gen Alpha wants to build the camps. And that's the problem. Millennials are broken now, and so's Gen Z. So when Gen Alpha comes up going, oh, we were raised by nihilists. Oh, we always knew this was garbage. We already planned. We were planning to build the camps years ago. So when they start wanting to build the camps, no one's going to stop them. Boomers will be dead. Gen X will be too old. Millennials will be like, whatevs. Who are we building the camps for? Okay. They won't care. That's my worry, that no one will care as the country begins to go into a horrible place. The way we stop that is by giving young men purpose. Young men. But what about the women? I'm not being misogynistic or sexist. If you think I am, you're just not getting it. Give young men purpose. You'll have better men that women will want. Women will want them. Women will go, oh, okay. These are men who got purpose and got their stuff together. Let's go. They can't wait. Women won't be able to wait. They'll be happy to jump on board. Yes, they'll be happy to jump on board. So yes. Rysticker says they also don't own a home. I feel like they have no chance of ever owning a home. True. True, and true. Yes. Absolutely true. So I want to grab some of these if I can. So many of these. I love all these here. I'm trying to grab as many as I can. Some of this is going back and forth without me, so it's fine. All right. Rick says, I'm losing a bit of sleep over trying to craft some comfort and hopefully some gentle course corrections while avoiding judgment on persons while ameliorating pernicious views. Wow, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Yes. Nick goes on to say, Larry, it sounds like you and Jordan Peterson could have good conversation about this topic. He's also been talking about it for years, these problems. He has too, is true. Yeah. He's talking about it. Yeah, he has. Yep. Rona says, we lost an entire generation in the 90s when pharma and government schooling pumped our children full of under-tested drugs and undeveloped brains. Yes. Rona, I wish you were wrong. But you are right. You are right. Robert says, I think Crystal's pointing out white men specifically because American society has already thrown away black men. There's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. It's rare to find black mass shooters in this style because most of the mass shooters who are black, it's gang violence. So most of the black men who would fall into this category at all are already in gangs, and it's gang violence. Which this goes back to our other piece, is accepted. And this goes back to the Joker from the movie The Dark Knight when he's talking to Harvey Dent. He goes, what's part of the plan? If I tell you that a bunch of soldiers get blown up in Afghanistan, or a bunch of gangbangers shoot each other up, you go, whatever. You don't care. It's all part of the plan. It's fine. And to your point, Robert, black men being killed in a gang violence is part of the plan. I think you're right. You have a valid point. But don't get me wrong. Black men are murdering lots of people too, just like white men are, just differently. And in that case, society's like, that's okay. Like, it's fine. We're okay with that. So, all righty. Patty says they are taking away mental health workers away. They are downsizing mental health care. Expect more of this. Yes. Yes. Absolutely true. They are doing it, and they don't seem to care. No one's paying attention to this. So Markel says crime of opportunities. I think that's common too. Again, I don't think most people aren't planning, right? Some do, like this guy did, but the average person just sees it and takes advantage of it. And the government, I don't think is good at planning at all. So it just takes advantage of whatever it possibly can, right? I don't see government planning this at all. It just goes, oh, that happened. We'll jump on it. So yes. Joshie says, sorry, dude, it's still gay. Don't think we husbands/boyfriends of trans women are delusional and don't understand the dynamic at play. I don't know. This is my issue. I'm not judging. I don't know. Is it gay? Okay. I mean, men. The example I'll give you, Joshie, is prison. There are many men who are felons who've been in prison for many years who have had sex with men. Most of it has been, in many cases, I'll say, it has not always been consensual, if that makes any sense. And some of those men who have been initiating it, if that makes any sense, I'm on YouTube, so I can't say the words I want to say. I hope I'm being clear. Who have initiated non-consensual penetration on men, they don't consider themselves gay. Now, you might think they are, but they don't. They don't identify as gay. When they're out of prison, they date women. When they're in prison, they engage with effeminate men, if that makes any sense. I hope I'm making sense. I would, if I wasn't on YouTube, I would just say it. I hope I'm making sense. So you might still call those men gay if you want to, you can. But many of those men do not consider themselves gay because in their minds, they go with what is available, which is only men in prison. And when they get out, they go with women. In fact, there's a whole world of this problems that black women have in the black community with this issue. It's actually a thing in the black community where they're like, are these guys gay or not? Like some of them, they would rather engage in what is the appropriate gay sex than non-gay sex with women sometimes because they get accustomed to the other door. Am I saying it effectively without getting canceled on YouTube? And that is sometimes a problem. Like there's an issue. If you talk to people in the black community, you will sometimes hear that women are like, what's going on here? But some of these men who they like, and you might go, wait a minute, are there that many? Well, there's an issue. Guys who come out of prison, if they're successful gangbangers, have money and power and status and are very masculine. And there's a problem with some women wanting to date those men. But those men may have spent 10 years in prison only engaging with other men. So anyway, I guess what I'm telling you is While you might call that guy gay, that guy may or may not identify as gay. Some men do, some don't. Depends upon the men. And to be forward, I don't care. If you're gay, good. If you're not gay, good. I don't care. If you find love with a biological male or biological female, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I wish this guy wasn't so broken when he found love. I wish he had found love with this person a year ago, and maybe he wouldn't have done this. And whether that makes him gay or not, I don't care. If he thinks he's not gay, and who knows, if she's transitioning, she might be doing bottom surgery. I don't know if she is or not. I have no idea. Maybe she is. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It's irrelevant. So I don't think there's any delusion there. I don't think. But I guess even if it is, so what? If you love a trans woman, love a trans woman. What do I care? And if you want to call yourself gay, call yourself gay. And if you don't, don't. If you notice, I never, when people would sometimes insult me by calling me gay, I never get insulted. It's not an insult to me. It's a descriptor. It's like calling me tall, which I am. Anyway, but whatever. I don't care. I hope at least that answers your question. I don't really care if it's gay or not. I guess where I go down to it. That's what I'm saying. So whatever. It is what it is. All righty. I will walk through a couple of these if I can. Chanel says, the depraved man who shot CK was dating a man, not a woman. Stop perpetuating the lie that men who claim to be women are actually women. Perpetuating a lie that the shooter tried to embrace, but clearly wasn't in peace with. I don't care, Chanel. That is virtue signaling. I don't care. I called the person what they were, a biological male, which they are. But if they would have, if they're trans, it's fine. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Let people find love. What do you care? Let them find love. I don't care. That's what I'm saying. Let's say the person he was dating was a woman. Okay. Charlie Kirk's still dead. Let's say it was a man who wasn't transitioning. He's just gay. And there's no question. Charlie Kirk's still dead. This doesn't matter to me. And this is the point I'm trying to make. The left-right paradigm here, while is valid, doesn't matter if there aren't angry, broken young men to fulfill the violence. If we fix the men, the rhetoric has no power. If we don't fix the men, the rhetoric is accepted and they go down a horrible hole. And then they kill people like Charlie Kirk. So I'm trying to focus on what matters most. Mad Nomad says, lack of community for sure, but we put way too much attention on purpose. Our purpose could be as simple as being kind every day while doing what makes us happy. Yes, again, there's 3 parts, which I bring up all the time, which is feeling loved, feeling respected, and having purpose. You can have 2 and be okay, but you want to have all 3 if you can. And purpose can be as simple as helping someone else. When people are in trouble, and I'll often bring this up, when people are in trouble and they don't want help, and this happens often with veterans, they don't want to be a burden. Heroes don't want to be a burden. And I would sometimes tell guys when they come to me this way, and I would say, why are you being selfish? Like, what do you mean you're not being selfish? I'm be a burden. It'd be selfish if I were to ask for help because I'm being a burden. I said, no. You know, you're one of our brothers. We want to help you. Like, we want to help you. And you're not letting us. Helping you can be somebody's purpose. They want to, someone else is in trouble right now. They're looking for purpose, and you could be that purpose, and you're being selfish. Stop being selfish and let somebody help you. And that might sound odd, but that has often worked. So you are correct. There are many ways for someone to gain purpose, and it could be in helping someone else. Yes, can be that, right? It doesn't have to be some greater thing. I'm going to Mars. Doesn't be that. Could be I want to work at the local VFW or American Legion and make some people happy on a Sunday night when they're hanging out drinking with their buddies. Could be that. Absolutely, I agree. Could be any of those. So Chrissy says, if you ban guns, people just can use other means of destruction. Look what happened to Boston Marathon. Yes. Or right now in the UK. Yes. Rona says, growing up, it all seems so one-sided. Opinions all provided, the future pre-decided, detached and subdivided in the mass production zone, nowhere in the dreamer or the misfit, so alone. Oh, thank you. All right. Missy says, I wonder if Kirk's murder was on any meds. I would assume so, but I don't know, actually. Yes. I don't know. I would assume so. All right, Joel says, ever listen to disclaimers on drug commercials? So many of them have suicidal thoughts as a side effect. Yes, and you have to take another drug to counteract that drug. Yes, so you need a double drug. Yes. Mass Manal says, Joe Rogan is a tiny rented disco ball that reflects his guest opinions back at them. He did do it to me. So maybe he didn't do that to me. Gray says, even poor kids when I was young had friends, 2 parents, extracurricular activities, and hope for a better future. Not today. Grace, you've hit a very important piece here. Thank you for that. You're exactly correct. Even wealthy kids today don't have friends, only have one parent from a broken home, don't have extracurricular activities, and don't have hope. It's literally the opposite now. You have hit something very important. It didn't matter who you were when you were a kid. When I was growing up, and you were growing up too, Grace, we all thought I was joking with this. We all thought there was going to be a moon base. And we were going to I was going to be a guard in the moon base. Me and Mike were going to be guarding the moon base. And we were going to be doing, right? That was our plan. We were going to be guarding the moon base when they had the shuttles that go back and forth and the space starship that goes up to Mars. Me and Mike were going to be on that. That's what we were going to be doing. Boy, did that not happen. But that's what we all thought. And me and Mike came out of the Bronx. Mike and I did not come out of rich neighborhoods. We didn't come out of rich families. And we still thought we was going to be on the moon base. You're right. Yes. So Patty says, Larry, the problem with you is you haven't been bought yet. I'm working on it, Patty. Give me some time. Yes. Robert says, I disagree, Larry. When it comes to communities that have been thrown away, MLK said, riots are the language of the unheard. I think this parallels your reference to Lost Lonely Boys build gulags. I'm not sure we're disagreeing, brother. I think we might be saying the same thing. This community, and I'm saying the NEAT community, because sadly, many of our communities aren't physical anymore. They should be, but many of them aren't. Many of our communities are actually online communities, in which case the NEAT community is an online community. NEAT, again, being not men who are not in education, employment, or training. That community is an online community. That's that nihilist community that Krista was talking about. And I think that violence or riots is their language. And they feel not only unheard, I will go further, they feel not only unheard, they feel discarded. So yes, I think it's true. So yeah, I think it's on the same, I think it's on the same vein, right? The Lost Lonely Boys build gulags. Yes, they do. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah. All righty. Gene says, I can't find the link to the advocates. Did I not put it on there? Hold on. Do I not have it here? Okay, if you look right above the hashtags, Gene, it should say link to the advocates. Right above the hashtags. You'll see that link. Right above it. The hashtags where it says free speech, hate speech, all that stuff. Right above that should be, it says link to the advocates. That's where it is. So yeah. All righty. I hope that was helpful. All righty. Patty says, I had a state trooper tell me protests are a symptom of the problem we need to fix and not put a band-aid on. The trooper knows he has to go through this all the time. Yes, he has to go through this all the time. Yes. Greg says the poll link goes to the advocate website, not the survey. Yes, you have to go to the survey link. You have to go there. Yes, absolutely. It just goes to the website. Correct. But you can then go where I'm asking you to go. Yes, it goes just to the website only, but keep going, please. There we go. All righty. Bronner says, effing nobody. Lol, I've been screaming to deaf ears for 20 years. The one common connection, sexual drugs and undeveloped brains. Yes. Now, I'm exaggerating when I say nobody. I'm exaggerating, clearly. But what I'm saying is, Bronner, our word is not getting out. In fact, the only one who's even close was RFK Jr. last year. He was about good food, healthy food, affecting the brain. He was the only one even close. Nobody else was really talking about this. And he wasn't saying this, but they made him, he's a fool. They call him a fool, crazy. Jordan Peterson was talking about the boy problem, and he's crazy. He's nuts, right? If you hear anyone who is not considered crazy by the mainstream talking about the boy problem, they blame boys. I'm not joking. If you look at anyone who has status, anyone like, what's that one guy who's always on TV? Gallagher. What's that guy's name? I forgot that guy. Whatever. He wrote a book. I was like, oh, boys, you're in trouble. But he's not saying, oh, boys, you're in trouble, so let's change the system. Boys are in trouble, so boys got to step up. What's wrong with you? Yeah. Anyway, it's bad. So Patty says, food's unaffordable now. Yes, we're making necessities expensive and luxuries cheap. So I can wear the coolest sneakers, but I can't pay my rent, right? I got a cool bag, but I don't have health care. Yes, it's a problem. It absolutely is. It's a problem. I agree with you completely. Yes. All righty. I think I grabbed both of these. You guys are going back and forth. I appreciate you guys all going back and forth. You're talking to yourself. I love it. It's amazing. I love the back and forth. I love the back and forth tremendously. It's great. So, all right, hold on. Larry, you're not making sense when you push the postmodern My Truth BS. If you think I'm pushing this, you are being, in my view, I feel like you're being oversensitive. I'm not pushing it. I'm not saying it's true or not true. I said the opposite. I said people feel how they feel. I didn't say that the trans woman was a woman. I said it's a biological male. I said that. I've been talking about this for a long time. But if you feel and you want to self-identify a certain way, go ahead. I don't care. It's not important to me how you want to do that. I'm fine with that. I'm not, doesn't mean I say, okay, now trans women are now women and should be like playing baseball or whatever. I'm not saying that. Never have said that. But I've always been against that. I've said it constantly. But if that's what makes you, the example I'll give you, Shannon, I hope I can get this one right. It's a friend of mine. Her name is Sarah Higdon. And she's been on my show many times. I've been out with her at Freedom Festival places. She says, hey, she's a biological male. But it's her words. I'm going to get canceled on YouTube. She got canceled on Twitter for saying this. So I make sure you don't get me canceled, Chanel. Her words, YouTube people, her words was that she believes she has a mental issue, and how she addresses that issue is by presenting as female. That's how she addresses the issue. She says that's how she feels comfortable in her body. And she said, again, her words, not mine. She said if she could take a pill to feel comfortable in her body, she would take it and she would stop presenting as a female. Her words, not mine, YouTube. Don't cancel me. She said that. Now, some people get mad at that and go, no, that's not true. She's really a woman, blah, blah, blah. And what I say is, if that's what she feels, then that's true. I'm okay with it. Let her feel that it's fine. If that's how she can feel comfortable, let her present as she wants. I don't care. She's not calling herself a woman. She's not my biological male, but she presents this way. Danny is similar. I know lots of people that way. What's wrong with that? Let them present how they want to present. I don't care. I'm not harmed by that. Why would you be? I don't care if it's postmodern, whatever, my truth. I don't care. Let them do what they want. I'm not concerned. If that's how they find, if that's how they find happiness, I'm good with it. That's all I'm saying. If that's how they find happiness, I'm good with it. That's all I'm saying. Brenner says, Rogan was correct for noting you were correct, Larry, but so was he. You were both correct in the interview. I know, but I just like it when Rogan said I was correct. I just liked it. It's totally personal. So yes, literally says a lot of this shit would end if people would just mind their own business, their own house, and know about what's going on in your neighbor's house. Yeah, it's true. I agree. Yep, absolutely. So Massman says, was that pre-Spotify? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't remember, to tell you the truth. It was 2018. So I don't know when he got Spotify. So it could be. It could be. Maybe. Michael says, college students were recently polled about the use of political violence toward their ends, and 34% approved of its use. I find that terrifying. Yes. Yes. Mad No Man says, I agree with Larry on the My Truth take. Thank you. Yeah, people. I'm very libertarian. That clearly, like you do you. And look, I live in New York City. I have trans friends, people on my team. I have them. It's fine. I don't care. It's all good. I remember interesting story on not trans but gay. I had a buddy of mine. I was consulting with him in Utah. This is many years ago, and I don't know if it's still true, but at the time in Utah, you could fire people for being gay. You might still be able to legally. I don't know, but back then it was true. I don't know what the laws are now. You could fire someone for being gay back then. So I was consulting, and we didn't go crazy with anything we're doing. We were just trying to get a business going, and we simply were like, "Hey, we won't fire you if you're gay." That was it. We weren't like treating gay people special or had a special sign, "Gay people welcome," or rainbow flag. Nothing. We just let the market know we'll fire you if you're bad, but we don't care if you're gay or not. And we got some of the best talent. About half the company was gay, maybe more. I don't remember. A bunch. Some of the great talent. They never fought. They never got mad. Didn't ask for a lot of money. They were happy that they could just be treated as regular people. That's it. Regular people. We didn't have special this. We didn't have a Pride Month. Nothing. We just said, you're like everybody else. Done. And we had nothing but good. Nothing but good. It was great. And something else. In 2018, City and State did an actual survey of all of the candidates running. And who was the most diverse campaign? It was me, Howie Hawkins, Stephanie Miner, Andrew Cuomo, and Mark Malano. We were all running in 2018. And they did their own investigation. I don't know how they did it, whatever they did. And they found that I had the most diverse team. Well, Larry, you must have had DEI policies. No, I'm against DEI policies. I have no policies like that whatsoever. I have just do your job and you'll be fine. And I will not treat you any better or any worse. That's it. You're welcome. Be on my team. You're welcome. That's it. And I had the most diverse team. I'm actually proud of that because I did it without DEI. I did that without DEI policies. I just had a very open policy. I still have it now. So yes. Chrissy says, I just don't want biological men in women's bathrooms or in our sports. True. Not fighting that. That's not crazy. That's not crazy. But to be forward, when it comes to the bathrooms, most people don't notice. Most don't notice. Let me be very forward with you. Most don't notice. Most don't. This is how it actually works. Grace says, RFK Jr. is being attacked by the mainstream, which is why independents need to support him. Others like him even more. So comment and share. Do it for Larry and RFK Jr. She's right. You should do that. Guys, I ask you often, and I want to ask you again, please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please click it. If you have not, you hate the children. Don't hate the children. Click the button. It does matter. Also, please share, repost this. Is my camera off? Hold on. There we go. That's better. Please share this if you haven't already shared this. It does matter. Also, if you can become a member, please do so. Membership does matter. Every time you can become a member, please pop up. Every membership does count. Please do it if you can. I appreciate it. You can do it on YouTube or you can do it on Rumble too if you want to. Either of those work. If you have, here's the next thing. Some of you aren't subscribed. Please head on over to Sharpe Way YouTube and subscribe. Hit subscribe and click the all notifications. Why? If you click all notifications, you'll be notified when I go live. So you can pop on and look things up. So please do that. Michael, but Larry already did it. What happens is YouTube decides you're a bot, just decides it. Goes, you're a bot because I say so, and unsubscribes you. So you got to check every once in a while to make sure that's happening. Now, I know I say this all the time, but I got to keep doing it. Remember, after the show, after it's done, after this live is over, please come back. Please come back and come back and leave a comment. Please come back and leave a comment. Here's what I'm asking you. What do you think about the alleged shooter? Just your opinion. What do you think about the alleged shooter? Please come back after this is over and put that comment down if you would. And again, this is not live. If you watch this a couple days later, you can see 2 videos pop up. Please click on one of them and watch right away for like 8-10 minutes. YouTube loves that. The algorithm loves that tremendously. Guys, I will be back tomorrow. I will see you all very soon.